back to my channel. So it's been quite a while since I've done a vlog, and I wasn't planning on doing a vlog today nor any time in the future, to be completely honest. Life has just been really busy for me at the moment, so I've had to invest my time wisely and into other things. So I went and saw a naturopath yesterday in regards to a few hormone and digestion issues that I've been having for the last probably 12 months. And it's purely come down to the fact that I had worked my body into such a state through overtraining, under-eating, lack of sleep, just a whole bunch of things that I had going on. And unfortunately, it just all took its toll on my body. So I've been trying to seek more of a holistic health approach to my health and my fitness and just my general well-being. And it got me to thinking, surely I cannot be the only person encountering these issues. And there might be so many people out there that don't even realize, because I sure as hell didn't when all these things started happening to me and I couldn't figure out as to why. I was training, I was eating healthy foods, I thought I was getting enough sleep, I was doing things that I enjoyed and all that sort of stuff. So it all kind of crept up on me, and by the time I realized what was going on, it was way too late. So I have seen naturopaths in the past. I hadn't really found one, I suppose, that really gelled with me and my lifestyle. I found them to be quite extreme with their recommendations and their opinions. Not saying they weren't correct, but I just didn't seem to gel for me. So I just never continued to follow those things up. Anyone that's new to following me or following my journey, I'll give you a little bit of background on me. I've always trained off and on during my early 20s. Hadn't really done any specific style of training, mainly just group classes in the commercial gyms and stuff like that. So a little bit of cardio here and there, eating what I had perceived to be healthy foods. Didn't really have much knowledge, and it wasn't up until 2014 where I decided to go and study to get my certificate 3 in fitness, mainly because I was working away at the mines at the time and I was just sick of going to the gym every day and not really accomplishing anything. So it was more to do with the fact that it was a upskill for me personally. It wasn't until I studied that I had then realized that what I had been doing as a hobby, I actually became quite passionate about it. I started teaching group fitness classes just on the side while still doing full-time work in construction. And then 2015, I went overseas for 12 months and had an amazing time. Lived and worked in Canada, traveled through Mexico, Central America. Did that whole thing, kind of put my whole health and fitness interests on the sideline. Obviously had put on a little bit of holiday weight through partying and trying all the different foods and all that sort of stuff. So then when I returned to Australia, I then went and studied to get my certificate 4 in fitness, which would then enable me to become a personal trainer. Same thing, still work full time. It's just been a hobby. But after studying those 2 certificates, I then realized that this is something I was really passionate about, and I started putting it in to practice all the things I had learned through getting these 2 certificates and just books and stuff I'd read along the way. Now I got myself to the point where I'd lost 10 kilos. I was training every day, eating healthy foods. I was tracking my consumption. I was losing body fat, gaining muscle, living what I thought to be my best life, as cliche as that sounds. But then all these things started happening to me. So I've been having issues for maybe like the last probably 18 months, 12 to 18 months. And those issues have been severe digestion issues, all the horrible stuff that no one wants to talk about, let alone have happened to you. I started developing food intolerances, specifically to gluten and quite often dairy. Any refined sugar foods, especially the sugar alcohols in food as well. It was just really not a pleasurable experience. And then I started getting irregular periods, and that was up until recently where I have actually lost my period completely. So these major issues that have been going on in my life is what has really pushed me to figure out what is going on with my body. I had done everything by the book. I was training regularly, eating healthily. Like, why were all these things all of a sudden happening to me? And it purely just came down to the fact that I was overtraining, I was overstressed, wasn't really taking care of my body and giving it what it needed to function properly. My goals and my well-being had just become quite unbalanced, and it purely just came down to I didn't know any better. I was doing HIIT 5 to 6 days a week, some days 7 days a week. I was under eating severely, eating not to the point that I wasn't eating foods, I just wasn't eating enough. I was still having 6 meals a day, but I was counting calories, so I was very cautious of what types of food I was putting into my body. I was eating a whole nutritious diet, all that sort of stuff, but something just wasn't adding up for me. And through going 8 months through the visits with my GP, and over the course of 6 months, I'd had every single test known to man. They tested me for everything, and the only thing that came back was a gluten intolerance. So I did recently just have to go and get a colonoscopy and I can never say it, an endoscopy, colonoscopy and endoscopy. That was actually a week ago, so I'll be back to my GP next week to get the results for those. But the initial feedback from that came back. The initial feedback from that was that everything looked fine. My villi in my small intestine and everything came back and it looked fine, which was so good because there was a concern for celiac disease just because my symptoms were so severe when I consumed gluten. So with that all being done, went and visited a naturopath on the Gold Coast, which came highly recommended, and I'm so glad that I did. She's located down in Burleigh. Her name is Miers. I will put all of her details in the description box below. So check her out on Instagram or anything like that, but she does some really cool stuff. Anyway, so I went and had my very first session with her yesterday. Did she blow my mind? She just asked me a series of questions, and through the answers that I gave was able to hit the nail on the head with absolutely everything. I had a few recommendations just with my diet and everything like that. I have since changed the style of my training, predominantly HIIT. Now I'm doing more strength style training. I've cut back on pretty much all of my cardio. My cardio now just consists of brisk walks. My calories have increased dramatically. Even though I've cut back on my cardio and increased my foods in excess of like 500 to 600 calories, I've still managed to lose body fat. My weight hasn't shifted much on the scale, but I've gone and got a body scan, and yeah, I've gained muscle and dropped body fat, which is so crazy to me. Focusing on trying to get a little bit more sleep. She was brilliant. She obviously recommended a few dietary changes for me, and recommended some herbal medicines and vitamins to take. I actually have them here. So the cool thing about Tia is she actually mixes up her own liquid herbs. So this is the first time it might be a thing, but it's the first time I've ever heard of it. So this is what I've been given. It's a 500 ml bottle of all these different liquid herbs that she mixed up right up in front of me in a huge big beaker and just like measured it all out. It was pretty cool to watch. But so this is my specific cocktail, which I don't know if you can see, but it is purely to aid in my hormone and digestion issues. So I'll just have a little shot of this in the morning and a little shot of this in the evening. Now, in addition to that, I'm also taking this EnteroCare stuff, which, what is it? Glutamine, slippery elm, and a bunch of probiotics as well. And lastly, she also gave me this magnesium powder. Also has, it's pretty much just magnesium with a bit of glutamine, zinc, and a few other things. Anyway, so I'll also be taking that daily. I'm currently already taking vitamin D, so I'll continue with that. I just don't get outside enough, and especially in winter, I'm definitely not getting the recommended daily intake, the recommended daily dosage for adults, which I'm sure a lot of people aren't getting either. So but yeah, and she also gave me just a few like info things as well. One of the things that I really liked is she really took the time and focused on what I was doing for my well-being and for my state of mind. So she focused a lot on what stresses I had currently going on in my life and what things I can implement to reduce some of them, and maybe just taking out a little bit more extra time for myself, which I really struggle to do. I'm one of those people that I thrive off being busy. If I have any spare moment, I will fill it with something else. So it's really hard for me to just have downtime and switch off completely. So I've actually decided to take back up surfing, for the reason being it will force me to actually, it's an activity where I can't actually do anything else. So deciding to take up back an interest of something like that will be really valuable for my mindset was something that was really important to implement. So she also did this really cool thing where it's called iridology. I hadn't seen it before, but what they essentially do is they use this specific camera and take a photo of your eye, then they blow it up, and they can actually tell a whole bunch of different things just by looking at your iris and your pupils and the colors and the quality of your eyes and all the lines and rings and everything like that. It was so surreal, like really cool experience, and it was really insightful. The stuff that she was able to pick up, not only about my health, but just things that I struggle with internally and mentally, things that I hadn't really discussed with anyone, but she was able to identify those. And I'm not gonna lie, I actually had a little bit of a moment and shed a tear, because it was just so touching, because I felt like she was literally looking into my soul, and I've just never experienced anything like that before with meeting a person just one time. Like, it was just such an amazing experience. And for those who might be a little bit dubious or skeptical of naturopaths, I definitely have been in the past, and have found it really hard to find someone that I gelled with. And I think that's what's important, is finding someone that works for you and with you, because obviously not everyone's going to be the right fit for you. So you just need to do your research and find someone who is aligned with what you're trying to achieve, and who is able to identify the issues you have and work in with your lifestyle as well. So Tia was really great. We definitely identified that all these issues were stemming from this damage that I had done to my body over the last 2 years and hadn't realized. Now, not only had I been having digestion and hormonal issues, I've also started to suffer from anxiety, and I didn't really understand what was happening. Now, it's not anxiety in the sense that impacts me in social situations or anything like that. Just this intense feeling of being overwhelmed and stressed all the time, and it's something that I'm not used to, and it's definitely something that I haven't experienced for majority of my life. So it definitely is something new for me. It could be something as simple as all the things I've been putting my body through has just had such a huge impact on my nervous system, and it's all these things that you don't think about. So it got me to thinking there is just so much conflicting information out there. With the internet, it's a wonderful thing. You can find any information you want on absolutely anything. But the downside of that is, and it got me to thinking, there's just so much conflicting information out there on the internet, on Instagram, and all that sort of stuff, which is great. Like, the downside of that is the information you might be reading might not be specific to you, and by doing all these different things, you could actually really be jeopardizing your health and doing serious and sometimes irreparable damage to your body. So that's where I thought, who knows how many other people it's happening to, and I was completely unaware of it. I didn't know it was a thing. Even though I wasn't planning on vlogging anywhere in the near future, I thought this might be a great chance, my experience on how I intend on getting my body back to where it needs to be. So if you think this is something you might be interested in, and you do want me to track this journey and share with you all, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to this video, let me know on Instagram, because if I can just help one person and not end up in the position I've put myself into. It'll be so worth it. So as I said, please do let me know. But yeah, so I'll keep you posted and hopefully see you in my next video.